I am a 35-year-old loser. That is a video title that I have seen a lot here on YouTube, and I feel like I definitely fall into that category. I'm 35, and I don't feel like I'm where I should be in my life at all. I feel like I don't know anything. I feel like I have no useful skills. I feel like I've accomplished nothing. And I feel like time is running out. I'm probably being over dramatic. I know people older than me, people in their 40s, 50s, 80s, might be watching this video and saying, "Oh no, you're still really young." And I mean, yeah, there's a good chance that I have 20 productive years ahead of me. Maybe if I'm really blessed, I'll have 30, 40 productive years ahead of me. I mean, that'd be wonderful. Will I actually do anything with those years? I hope so, but at this point, I don't know. There's just so much information in the world, and you don't know what information is useful, what information is pointless noise. There's patterns everywhere. You don't know which patterns are worth noticing and which are just your brain is making up. So many things to learn, and you don't even know what skills are going to be useful 5 years from now. If I train myself in something today, is it going to become outdated in 2 years? And so many technologies constantly advancing, companies constantly changing their processes. I feel like I'm kind of useless in the workplace. I mean, I'm being a little over dramatic. I'm not useless. I'm actually a very good employee. I have a lot to offer, but I feel like my resume is not that impressive. And even guys who have their career all figured out, and I mean, I have to an extent. I've gone to college. I've committed to the bit, at least for the time being. But even guys were like, they went to college and they knew exactly what they were going to do at 18, and they started their career at 22, and they got a good job at a Fortune 500 company in their early 20s, and they've just been working their way up. Even these guys are frustrated. I hear them talk all the time about how, like, you basically need to be finding a new job every 4 to 5 years just to stay competitive with pay and to keep your skills relevant so that you could get hired at a different job in the future if you were to lose your job somehow. And there's more and more job insecurity these days, even compared to 20, 30 years ago. And there's all these complaints about the hiring process and about interviews with HR and how they ask all of these ridiculous questions about, what's your 5-year plan? Tell me about a time where you had a project where you did this. And don't even get me started on what they tell you to put on your resume. Like, and I've never taken that advice. I have never tailored my resume to... I've never tailored my resume in the way that people tell you that you should tailor your resume. Like, I know the advice for resumes is like, you have to have like these bullet points, and they have to show action. Like, I increased this by this percent. I did 200 projects and oversaw 40 people, and I increased their efficiency by 20%, and I increased revenue for the company by $4 million, and it's all fake. That's why I've never put anything like that on my resume, because everybody's making it up, or at least exaggerating. Was it really just you that caused all those improvements in the company to happen? No, I'm sure it was a team effort. I'm sure that a lot of your coworkers had a lot to do with it as well. But no, I'm gonna make it all about me on my resume. It was me that accomplished this. And again, that's considering that you're even telling the truth. So many people, they'll just make up accomplishments, and there's no way to really prove that they actually accomplished that. And then also, you're not even just competing with people in your community. You're competing with people all across the United States, in Canada, all across the world. All these people in India, that the jobs are being outsourced to, and all these people from India and China and Brazil, all these other, everyone wants to come to America to work, because most other countries, the pay is not very good. So you're basically competing with the whole world for just a few of these corporate jobs. And so naturally it comes to the point where it's like, why am I putting myself through all of this for one of these few jobs that, for how much effort you're putting in and for how much of your life you're sacrificing, you're not even really getting paid that much in a lot of cases. I mean, even if you're making, $200,000, $300,000 a year in your corporate job, I mean, you could make that much, as a tradesman running your own company if you know what you're doing. I mean, or being an influencer. I mean, honestly, content creation kind of looks like the most logical path at this point. Like, should I just, go balls to the wall with this channel and just upload a video every day and just try to, blow up on YouTube? I mean, I hate it. I don't want to make slop. I don't want to, make brain rot and just collect ad revenue or have ad deals with these, cheap Chinese crap products and get a sales commission from them. That's not really how I want to earn my money, and I'm not really doing anything productive for the world. But am I doing anything more productive working for a Fortune 500 company? Probably not. So at the end of the day, if you're not really making any sort of an impact on the world, then what it boils down to is, are you getting that bag? And then what's the easiest way to get the biggest bag? And for a lot of people, that's content creation. For a lot of girls, that's OnlyFans, which I think is a little ridiculous. Because I mean, if you're a good-looking girl, there's so many ways that you can grift online that don't involve taking your clothes off. Like, guys will literally simp for anything. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, basically I'm just being a sad boy right now, because I feel like everything that I put hard work into is for nothing. And like, I don't know, you see all these people, and that's the other thing too, is you realize that like the world is run by people who aren't very smart. Like people who have hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, they're just like you and me. They don't know a ton about a lot of different things. They really just retard max their way through the world. I know that term's become super popular, but really they just don't overthink stuff. They just have a high amount of self-confidence and they just act. And they might be the truly smart people. The ones who don't overthink, they just go out there and do it. I actually really respect that, and I wish I was more like that. I guess that's partially why I'm making this video, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to post this video. But I mean, obviously if you're watching it, it got posted, and that's the decision that I made. But I don't know. Again, I'm just getting older. I'm 35, and I'm kind of reaching the point where, again, I'm being dramatic. I might not die for another 50 years, but I'm reaching the point in my life where it's like, oh, I could die tomorrow. It would not be completely unrealistic for me to die tomorrow in an accident, or die next year from some illness that just comes out of nowhere. Or, with how crazy things are getting in America, all these criminals running around killing people, and they're they're getting arrested 100 times. They still don't end up in prison. They keep getting re-released. Maybe I'll be a victim of that kind of violence. Who knows? But basically, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Next year isn't guaranteed. 5 years from now certainly isn't guaranteed. And so, I don't know, once you reach a certain age, once you reach 30, 35, 45, you start to think, this is my life. I might not have that much life left. If I died tomorrow, would I have regrets? And I think my biggest regret is not living my life in a way where I don't overthink and I don't care so much about what happens. And I know the grass is always greener on the other side. Like you're working blue collar, your body's tired, you're not making quite as much money as you would like to in a lot of cases, and you see these people working their corporate job, and it's like, oh, they're just sitting at a desk all day and they're making more than me, and that seems so great. And then you get the white collar job, and then you're like, oh, I miss being on my feet. I'm sitting at a desk all day and I'm getting fat. This sucks. Like, at least when I was doing physical labor, I was getting sunlight. I was outside. Like, now I'm just inside all day under these fluorescent lights, and I'm just eating at my desk, and I'm out of shape, and I don't feel good, and it's so monotonous, and it's not even like and at least with physical labor, there's some muscle memory, and you're using your body. Whereas, like, if you're just like manipulating a spreadsheet for 12 hours, like, it's not even that stimulating. Like, so I mean, the grass is always greener on the other side. I mean, same with like working a job versus entrepreneurship. Like, when you're working for someone else, like, you see these business people who own their own business, and it's like, oh, they have so much freedom, that must be amazing. And then when you're an entrepreneur, you're looking at people who work a job, and they're like, oh, they have so much security, it must be nice that they have a guaranteed paycheck. So what I'm saying is, I acknowledge that things always look better from a different perspective. We always want something that we don't have. I get that. But all that being said, when I look at these guys who just make videos online, they just say whatever's on their mind. They don't overthink it. They launch some business, launch some product. They do some project without overthinking the outcome, without overthinking the result, without spending all these hours thinking, oh, is this going to be profitable? Is this going to actually make a positive impact on the world? Is this actually going to make me happy? Is this actually going to get me money, clout, social status? Is this going to give me security for the future? Is this going to even matter in 5 years? All these thoughts that run through my head. I don't know, just living my life in a way where I'm not overthinking in that way, and I just do what I want to do in the moment. It seems really appealing at this point, because I could die tomorrow. In my case, and in so many people's cases, they're doing things that they don't really want to do, and the outcome that they're hoping for probably isn't going to come anyway. And this seems like such a doomer video. I'm not trying to like be a doomer. I'm actually quite white-pilled. I'm quite a positive person, but it's just like, life is such a gift, and I feel like I'm just wasting it, honestly. And so I don't know. Should I do YouTube? Should I just go all in on making videos? That's kind of the main thing I'm contemplating. Do I want to just put myself out there with this channel that I already have built up? That's the crazy thing too, is I already have an audience. If I do end up posting this video, at least a few hundred people are going to watch, if not a couple thousand. I mean, I really did build a quality following. It was small, and I purposely stayed under the radar, because especially back then, I was even more in this mindset of overthinking everything, and I was trying so hard to keep my private life and my online life separate, and I realize now that you can't really do that. And but the world has changed so much too, even in the last 10 years, that like people don't even care anymore. Everybody has an online life at this point. Everybody has a YouTube channel. Everybody has a TikTok and Instagram where they're posting videos, posting about their life. I'm filming in a parking lot right now, and nobody is even giving me a second thought, because this is very normal. And yeah, you can see some nice gentlemen walking behind me there. Yeah, so the world has changed so much, and that's the other thing too, is I feel like I'm just so behind in everything. I feel like there's all this new technology. I mean, AI has advanced so quickly. Social media companies are constantly just changing their algorithms, changing the type of content that they're pushing. The trends come and go like that. I just feel, I know I'm an unk. I'm such an unk, which I don't feel that offended when people call me unk, actually, because there's like 22-year-olds who are being called unk. So, and I'm quite past that age. So, But yeah, I feel like I'm missing out not posting. I feel like I'm missing out not putting myself out there in the online space. And So I'm thinking about giving this channel another try. I am happy that I deleted all my old videos because they were cringe, and I do think that I'm more mature now and I have a more mature perspective. But yeah, I mean, a lot of self-doubt still creeps in. I still think, what people are going to find my videos, what are they going to think about me, all my thoughts out there. It's just being vulnerable. You're putting all of your personal thoughts out there for everybody to watch. More information about you that then you would probably want to share with people is going to be put out there. And then also there's just all the uncertainty too. It's like, oh, do people really want to listen to me talk every day? Do people really care that much about what I have to say? And am I going to run out of things to say too? That's my other big worry. I remember I explained this briefly in a video like 8 years ago. Why I basically stopped YouTube was I think it was Ben Shapiro actually that caused me to really stop wanting to do YouTube actually. So you can go blame Ben Shapiro for this actually, but I was watching Ben Shapiro one day and I was just thinking, wow, this kind of sucks. Like, like he's just going through the news cycle and just like giving his opinion on it. And I was just thinking, like, is this what I want my life to be? Do I want my life to just be, I go through the news cycle like Ben Shapiro or like the Young Turks, and I just give my commentary about whatever's in the news, and then, and then hundreds of comments or thousands of comments are like agreeing with me saying like, oh yeah, Nick, yeah, you're right, that person sucks, that person's so stupid, you're funny. Like, do I really want that to be my life? Do I really want that to be like my main contribution to the world? No, I don't. But at the same time, I've reached a point in my life where I just want security for myself and for my children, if I have them. And I mean, if the easiest way for me to stack money is just to say stuff online and people like it, I mean, why not? So I don't know. And I have ideas for projects as well. And I guess the other reason why I want to relaunch this channel is I have ideas for projects, and they're not going to be profitable unless I have people who are interested in them. And this is just a good way for self-promotion. I really do. I have some ideas for video games, which I think are unique and would fill a niche that is very underserved right now. So game design is actually kind of my main focus at the moment, but even with that, like, I'm a complete noob. Like, I really don't know that much about game design, and it's like, do I use Unity? Do I use Unreal? I know that Steam is launching their own engine at this point. Would I be stupid to teach myself Unity if like Steam will be the obvious choice in a few years? Like, but then again, that's just overthinking as well, because once you get really good at one engine, like, a lot of those skills, they'll transfer over to other engines. And it's just like teaching yourself a new piece of software. Like, if I had to learn a new software for work, would it really be that hard? No. I mean, most UIs are very similar, or most tools are going to be designed in a way that they're intuitive, or else people wouldn't really use them. So again, I shouldn't overthink in that aspect, but yeah, those were just my thoughts today. I guess I was feeling a little bit like a doomer, so I felt like this would be a good day to film, because why not? There's never a perfect time for anything. Good talking to you. I guess we'll see how this video does, if anybody even still watches me, or if people even are going to get these I wonder if anybody's going to be notified about this in their subscriptions, because I've been told that with the new YouTube algorithm, subscriptions don't even matter. So we'll see if anybody even sees this. All right, see ya.